Hey guys, Neely here. I'm coming in today for my weekend Q&A and chat, and hopefully the lighting will be better this week. Trying to figure out where I can get the best with this new camera. It's a fantastic camera, but I just gotta figure out what I need to do to make it work. So anyways, I just have a few questions this week, so I will go ahead and jump in and see if I can get through all of them. Let's see. The first one is from S. Hartman. And she said, a question for your next Q&A. How did you get into freezer cooking, eating healthy, and budgeting? It can be hard to juggle all three, especially while homeschooling. Very true. And she says, you do a great job. Thank you. And what does your hubby think of all of this? Does he realize how much work you are doing? Sounds like he works really hard too. So yes, he does work very hard. Okay, so getting into freezer cooking, eating healthy, and budgeting, those are all kind of three separate questions, because they all have three separate answers, I guess. Freezer cooking, I have, over the years, cooking for the family. I've looked into freezer cooking a few times and kind of attempted it a few times, but never really was super happy with the results that I would get. I didn't feel like the meals were that great. And then I think it was after I got the Instant Pot where I really got into it more. And I think that's because the Instant Pot does such a good job of, the lighting's being weird again. Sorry about that. The Instant Pot does a good job of making things taste really good, even straight from the freezer. So that definitely made a difference in getting into it. But then the more that I've gotten into it, the more I've, figured out how to make it work for the family and the different things that the family likes. So before I was trying a lot of slow cooker meals and stuff. And that I didn't care for those, but getting into it and kind of getting new ideas like the freezer sandwiches and the freezer burritos and the pretzel dogs, all that kind of stuff, I've just kind of found what the family likes. And so that just took time, just kind of gradually collected those ideas and recipes over the years as I've been doing it, and I am here now. So, and then also I have to say that getting into freezer cooking, a lot of the motivation for that is this YouTube channel. When I put something up and people are really excited and interested in it, it really motivates me to work hard to find more things. And so it's kind of a win-win where I'm motivated to find new tips and ideas for you guys, but then they also turn around and make my life easier. That's one thing I absolutely love about this YouTube channel, is that I can enjoy expressing myself, my creativity. I can help earn a little bit of income for the family, and I'm doing it through all the things that I normally do at home. I take a video of making our dinner or take a video of our grocery shopping. That's just stuff that I do. It's not like I'm going off and creating something completely separate from, the rest of my life. It's like I'm just putting on YouTube my life, and it helps, and I'm able to express myself. And so yeah, that's one really thing that I really, really love about this YouTube channel, and it's been super motivating for me. So it's inspired me to get better at doing what I normally do in my life, which I can always, that's always a benefit, just working harder and getting more efficient at things. So that's the same with the budgeting. We've budgeted forever since we've needed to budget. We really are not interested in being in debt at all, and we are not in debt except for our mortgage, which we're working really, really hard to get out of as well, because we really want to live completely debt-free. We never had any student loans. We didn't have to worry about that, which is a good thing. Never had any car loans, car payments, that kind of stuff. And so we've always been proactive about budgeting. We've never, had major credit card bills. We just have never lived like that. So that hasn't been a struggle for us. But then, living within our means, that's just something we naturally do, is we have to budget to make sure we survive, So we've been doing that for a long time, and we use the app YNAB. It's an acronym for You Need a Budget, YNAB. And that worked fairly well, although my husband kind of dropped off with keeping it updated. He has to go in every month, and I don't know what it was. But anyways, he kind of wasn't keeping up with it. I was still using it to track our spending, but it just wasn't super efficient since he wasn't keeping it updated from his end. So that's when I started doing the bullet journal budgeting, and that has been really amazing. And it's really interesting because I was writing down or putting into the app everything I was spending before, but I'd still go over, and it seemed easier to go over when I was using the app. And I think also part of it is putting it on YouTube when I do my budgeting videos. I have that extra motivation to stay in my budget because I'm going to be showing it to you guys. But then there's also something about writing it down with paper and a pen. Like, I don't know, it's weird. I didn't believe it until I did it, but something about writing it down and having it right there on a sheet of paper in front of me that motivates me to stay in budget. So I don't know why, but I'll take it because I've been on budget every single month so far this year. And I mean, before I'd go over $50 here and there, and that was just normal. But now it's normal for me to stay in budget. So anyways, there's something to it. Might be something to try if you struggle with staying in budget. I know that the apps work for a lot of people, so not dissing those at all, and it worked for me fairly well for how we used it. But anyways, that's kind of how I've gotten into budgeting, like with the bullet journal and stuff. So then the other thing, eating healthy. That's kind of a longer backstory. And I do have a couple of videos on my weight loss story up until the point that I did that video, which was, I think, about a year ago. So definitely it's changed since then. So if you've been just following me the last year, maybe you can go back to that video and then you can kind of learn the backstory. But really, really briefly, I was overweight in high school, like high school age. And I think it was just a lot due to sugar consumption. I ate a standard American diet. I ate plenty of sugar and junk, and I worked at fast food restaurants and got free meals there and all that kind of stuff. So just typical American teenager eating a typical American teenager diet, and I was overweight and had all kinds of issues that go along with that. And then it was when I was 19 and I had just gotten engaged to my husband, to my fiance at that point. And I wanted to lose weight for the wedding. I had never really dieted before. I just hadn't even been in that world at all, which is probably a good thing. Don't want to get kids into the dieting world. I don't want to get anyone in the dieting world. It's a pretty awful place to be for the most part. But anyways, that was my first experience in dieting when I was 19 and wanting to lose weight. I started the Atkins diet. That was the first diet book I ever read. So I did the Atkins diet and it worked incredibly for me. I mean, I was young and I was addicted to sugar. And so just cutting out the sugar at that point made a huge difference in my body. I was somewhere around 180 to 190, probably around 185 pounds. And then when I did the Atkins diet, just in a few months, I got down to about 150. So I lost about 35 to 40 pounds fairly quickly without having to count any calories or anything. All I did was follow the Atkins program and count my carbs, and that was an excellent first step for me. And then from there, I just have, kind of progressed in my knowledge of nutrition and diet and figuring out what works for me and what doesn't, and kind of working through all the body image stuff. And, because you're overweight as a teenager and then you lose weight and it's like you get all this attention and it just messes with you, in this culture that we live in. So anyways, I will put a link up in the cards to my weight loss story videos, so you can check that out. And then, since then I've lost some more weight and kind of still been working on my mindset and figuring out what works for my body. And that's where I am today. And then the question about my husband and if he realizes how much I am doing. Yes, he does. He, sometimes I wish he would notice more, of course, but he definitely does. Like you said, he does work very hard as well. So it's kind of funny because he works 2 jobs. He owns his own business and he works a graveyard job Monday through Friday. So he is exhausted all the time. He gets, on the weekdays, on a good day, he'll get 4 hours of sleep before he has to go to work. On a bad day, he gets, a couple of hours, and that's his night of sleep. So it's kind of funny where I can't ever complain. Like I can't ever be like, oh, I'm so tired, because he's the one that's going on 3 hours of sleep, for the week. And so that's definitely a struggle, but he does recognize the work that I put in, and he definitely appreciates it. Next question is from Rilla. Hi, Rilla. She asked if my daughters help with the food prep. She says her 13-year-old son is a very good cook and makes dinner at least once a week, and that's a great skill for kids to learn, and I absolutely agree. And yes, they do help. The little ones like to help, like I've shown Charity in some of the videos. You can, like the last video or a couple videos ago, I did the chicken strips, and you could see her hands in the video helping me, which is really fun. I enjoyed editing that video and seeing her little hands. So they definitely help. The little ones want to help. The bigger ones don't want to help quite so much, especially Autumn. But her job in the family, her chore is dishes. So she is the one that does the majority of the dishes in the house. She washes them, and then Talia will put them away out of the dishwasher. That's her chore. So she definitely helps in that way. She doesn't want to do quite as much of the meal prep, like helping me with it. She does do a lot of making her own meals. So she, she'll make her own oatmeal or make her own quesadillas or whatever. So she definitely cooks, but she doesn't really want to help with the meal prep. And we have such a small kitchen that it's hard to have all of us in the kitchen working at the same time. So if I'm doing something that the little kids can kind of jump in on, I let them come in, standing on a chair or something, and they'll help me out. And then Autumn has her other ways of helping out, like doing the dishes and making her own meals, and then also like helping the little girls get lunch or whatever. If she's making something, I'll say, can you make some for Charity and Renee as well, and she'll do that. So they definitely help, and they definitely are learning cooking skills in the process. Emily asks 2 random things. 1, how did you and your hubby meet? And 2, did you do cloth diapering with your kids? She says she's 17 weeks pregnant and looking into it. All right, so first, how did my husband and I meet? We met at a college group at church. It was the church that I grew up in from like junior high age up through college. And so I was there with my group of friends that I had grown up with in our college group. And he grew up in a different church. And then once he was, like 18, 19, something like that. About 18. He wanted to kind of find his own church, and so he was going around, going to different churches, and he got invited to our college group, and he came there, and we met. I didn't think a whole lot of him at first, and then we started getting to know each other, and there was like a group of 3 of us, me and him and one other guy, and we would hang out all the time, and just kind of slowly realized that there was something more, and we got engaged when we got engaged when he was 20 and I was 19, and then we got married the month after I turned 20, and so he was still 20 at the time. So we were 20 when we got married, and then we were 21 when we had our first daughter. I just turned 21. I got pregnant like 4 months after we got married. So anyways, that's how we met, church college group, and haven't looked back. Then about the cloth diapering, no, I have not done cloth diapering. I just never could get into it. I tried with Renee. I had gotten some cloth diapers, and I wanted to try it because I hadn't done it at all before, and I just could not. It's so much money to start with, and I was like, I've already done disposable for all the ones before, because if you start right at the beginning, then you can reuse the diapers for all the kids, and it ends up being way, way cheaper. But I was like, I just can't. We try to save the world and the environment through all kinds of ways, and diapering is just not one of the ones that we have been able to do. So can't help you with that one. And then Stacy asked about my name, and she actually mentioned that she found in another video where I answered the question, but I figured I would go ahead and mention it again, because I know not everybody goes back and watches all the videos like you do, Stacy. So anyways, she asked if Nili was short for something. And no, it is not. That is my full name, Nili. It is a Jewish name. It is like from the Hebrew language. And I've heard a few different things about what it means. There's a passage in the Bible that it's referred to, something about the God of Israel does not lie, which is fantastic, which I believe. And so it means something like that. And then also I heard that it is the name of a pea plant, like peas, like green garden peas. And the pea plant, it has indigo blue flowers. And so from my understanding, I could be wrong, if you speak Hebrew, let me know. But I've heard that they use the name of the pea plant to also describe the color indigo blue. So I like to say my name means indigo blue, and that's why I have my channel named Indigo Nili. That's the backstory for that. So that is it for all my questions this week. Even though I only had a few, I still managed to talk for like 15 minutes. Thanks for coming along. Leave any comments down below, any questions that you have for my chat next week, any topics you want me to chat about. I would love to hear that. And I will see you throughout the week with more different videos. Hope you guys are all doing great. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, guys.